that the producers, far left-wing activists in Hollywood, are turning on her, and Disney has canceled all of Rachel Zegler's appearances on their media platforms. Kind of tough.
And there is no resolution in sight for the Walt Disney Company when it comes to Snow White 2025 at the box office. This is exactly why Bob Iger, the Disney CEO, is in pure panic mode over not just the Rachel Zegler backlash, but the entire backlash surrounding this movie in general.
Rachel Zegler was once hailed as Disney's next rising star, but now she's been all but erased from the very project that promised to catapult her to Hollywood royalty. After months of backlash, internal chaos, and a PR nightmare Disney couldn't control, the studio has made a stunning decision: a full reboot of Snow White. And Rachel, her media appearances canceled, her role scrubbed.
And just how once trusted critics that shilled for the Disney Company all the time, even they are beginning to turn their back against them. That's how bad this movie truly is. Even if you look at the IMDb rating score, that's when you really know how terrible this movie is and how it really hit rock bottom.
This isn't just a casting change. It's a corporate panic move in the face of one of the biggest fan revolts in Disney history. So how did we get here? Why did it go so wrong? And can Disney really redeem itself? Or is this just too little, too late? Let's break down the real story behind the Snow White disaster and the fallout Disney didn't want you to see.
There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Yeah. Weird. Super weird. So we didn't do that this time.
It started with high hopes. Rachel Zegler, fresh off her breakout role in West Side Story, was cast as Snow White in what Disney marketed as a bold, modern reimagining. But what was supposed to be a celebration of progress quickly spiraled into controversy. Zegler's press interviews raised eyebrows when she dismissed the original film's romantic plot as awkward and called the prince irrelevant.
After one hell of a PR tour, Disney's live-action Snow White is finally,
The internet lit up. Fans weren't just annoyed, they were furious. To many, it felt like an attack on the very story that defined Disney's legacy. Hashtags started trending. Backlash videos flooded YouTube. Comment sections turned into war zones. Rachel's statements were replayed, dissected, and ridiculed.
That despite my flaws, and despite my cracks and my breaks, and there are many of them,
she's a good actress,
that at every premiere and everything I do, people will wait in line to see.
Wow. The ego on this girl is ridiculous.
Wow. Disney had expected a wave of support. Instead, they found themselves scrambling to contain a growing firestorm. Internally, Disney executives were blindsided. Test screenings were lukewarm. But the trailer? That was the tipping point. Critics who once praised Disney were now turning on them. Even IMDb scores painted a grim picture.
And you have parents looking at Disney being like, what are you doing, guys? Like, this is supposed to be a place where magic happens, and all you're doing is indoctrinating kids, and you're having this person be the poster child of the Democratic Party.
The film's departure from the original was too drastic. No prince, no traditional dwarves, a radically different tone. What was pitched as progressive now felt, at best, like performative rewriting and at worst, disrespect. But the worst was still to come. Merchandise tanked. Retailers slashed prices. Millions in unsold Snow White dolls, costumes, and collectibles piled up in warehouses. For a company built on fairy tale branding, this was catastrophic.
Look no further than what Disney is doing with their woke, DEI, feminist agenda.
Enter Bob Iger. Disney's CEO was reportedly in full damage control mode. And after months of silence, the studio made its most desperate move yet. A new Snow White, a full reboot, a fresh cast, a return to the 1937 storyline, and one glaring omission. Rachel Zegler is nowhere to be found. According to insiders, every appearance she had lined up on Disney's media platforms has been quietly canceled. Her name? Scrubbed from internal memos. It's a hard fall from grace, and one that raises serious questions about Disney's direction and accountability. Disney's new Snow White will be a tribute to classic storytelling.
Tell me if this is attractive to you. Like, does this, imagine you invested into her being the face of the movie and she's the main character and she's trying to promote the movie. Would this make you want to go watch the movie when she's starring in it and she's the main character?
That means restoring the prince and dwarves, bringing back iconic songs like Someday My Prince Will Come, involving legacy animators and consultants, avoiding the modern feminist tone that defined The Last Attempt. Early reports say the studio wants an actress who embodies classic Hollywood elegance. And this time the media messaging will be tightly controlled. Gone are the days of unscripted interviews and off-the-cuff comments.
She destroyed hundreds of millions of dollars worth of IP for Disney, but she also has destroyed her career and the careers of anybody who worked on the movie.
Disney wants this film to speak for itself, not through controversy, but through nostalgia. Even Disney parks are getting in on the act. Plans are underway to re-theme select attractions to align with the reboot's tone before the film even begins production. They're not just making another movie. They're rebuilding trust, reclaiming a legacy, and trying to prove that Snow White still matters.
The producers, far left-wing activists in Hollywood, are turning on her, and Disney has canceled all of Rachel Zegler's appearances on their media platforms. Kind of tough.
As for Rachel Zegler, she's stayed mostly silent. Once hailed as a voice for the new generation, she's now at the center of a cautionary tale. Her defenders say she was misunderstood. Her critics say she killed the magic. The truth? Probably somewhere in the middle.
We'll still offend the dwarves, but we'll CGI dwarves. So we'll guarantee no employment for little people while getting rid of this other component that warranted CGI. It was the worst decision they could possibly make. You could look at the fact that she has been sabotaging this film for years at this point, all in this sort of pursuit of entitlement.
But Disney is done waiting to find out. The studio is betting everything on this reboot. The emotional stakes are just as high as the financial ones. Because if they get this wrong again, it won't just be the end of Snow White. It could mark a turning point for Disney's entire identity. So what do you think? Did Disney do Rachel Zegler dirty? Or was this an inevitable correction after months of backlash? Is the new Snow White destined to succeed? Or is this reboot already cursed? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the biggest stories in Hollywood.